a lot has been said already in the morning by His Excellency and the previous speaker as well, because when you talk about irrigation, it's always important to talk about the opportunities and the resources or the resource base we have. So in terms of water resources and in terms of irrigation potential of the country, it's always important to talk about. So this has been already said in the previous speaker. However, it's always important to stress the fact that all sorts of resources that we have in terms of rainfall or runoff, it is highly variable, both spatially and temporally. In terms of the irrigation potential we have, of course, there is still different estimates available by different researchers and different organizations. However, at the moment, the irrigation potential we have summarized in all the basins of the country is estimated to be approximately 5.7 million hectares. Out of this, only around 20% of it is irrigated. And out of the 20% irrigated, it's almost 80% of, or approximately 80% of the irrigation is only covered by small scale. So you can imagine the coverage of medium and large scale irrigation of the country is quite small. And when we see commitment of the government in terms of allocating funds or budget for the irrigation sector, we see, although it's not really as we wanted, or it's not really as we expected in terms of satisfactorily benefiting the people, or in terms of achieving the growth and transformation plan of 1 and 2. However, you see a slight increment of budget or fund allocated from the government, especially starting from the 2008. In fact, when you see starting from 1996 up to 2006, it's more or less the same. However, starting from 2008 and this year, especially 2011, we have seen quite significant increment in allocating enough funds, although it's not really enough, but some funds for irrigation expansion, both medium and large scale irrigation expansion. And we still expect a lot more to come in the upcoming years, 2012 and 2013. We have a lot of projects in the pipeline. We already submitted the list of projects who has compiled ready-made designs, etc., for the Ministry of Finance, and we are still expecting a lot more to come from the government. And one other opportunity for expansion of medium and large scale irrigation is, or shown by the government, is establishment of autonomous irrigation organization. Well, in the past, it's only the irrigation design and study and design, which used to be done by a separate organization. However, at the moment, the government has established Irrigation Development Commission, which is going to work from end to end, starting from study and design of medium and large scale irrigation projects up to management of the constructed irrigation project, which is in fact a very big opportunity for the country. When we see the comparison of whether we achieved the growth and transformation plan in terms of irrigation, those which have been achieved by the Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Energy, which have been achieved by different regional governments. In fact, regional governments have been implementing only small-scale irrigation, and those which have been achieved by the Sugar Corporation and other private investors. You see, in terms of study and design, so far we have achieved only 61. In growth and transformation plan, we have achieved only 61%. And regional governments, in terms of small-scale irrigation, have been achieved more, of course, in terms of study and design. By Sugar Corporation, a lot has been studied. However, when you see in terms of construction completion, it is still less than or approximately 50% only. When we see in terms of construction, our achievements in terms of construction, the Ministry of Water has achieved quite less than 50%. Well, there are several reasons for that I will mention a little bit later. Regional governments achieved like slightly 45%, and Sugar Corporation has achieved 53%, and etc. But this is indicator of the fact that due to a number of reasons that I will mention a little bit later, a growth and transformation plan in terms of irrigation hasn't been really achieved. And when you see the growth and transformation plan 2, although we still have 1 year left, but the Ministry of Water has planned to study and design approximately 250,000 hectares and construction around 280 and 385 hectares. There is also other plans by the Sugar Corporation and a separate plan by the regional governments. In fact, as I said, the regional governments are planning in terms of small-scale irrigation. Why we failed to achieve the growth and transformation plan, although there are a number of reasons, I will only focus only few of them. Well, we have seen in the last couple of years that so many projects has been started elsewhere throughout different corners of the country. However, most of the projects did not really complete it very well. When we start most of the projects, we did not really have very clean and up-to-date study and design projects. Most of the projects, although they appear to be designed quite well, they have been designed like 10 or 8 years back, and this has added a lot of problems later when we embark on the construction process. The other issue is related to land acquisition for irrigation development. Building dams and other related irrigation infrastructures require a lot of land, and in fact construction materials as well, they require a lot of land. This has been really a challenge for all of us to acquire the land and to get the land from rural farmers and from the regions as well. It has been a challenge for us, and in fact when we see most of our designs, when we see most of the constructions, we still are, doing a lot of modifications in doing the constructions. And this is indicator of the fact that we still lack domestic capacity in study and design particularly. And in fact, in construction as well, most of the companies engaged in irrigation constructions are, most of them, they are foreigners, Chinese, etc. And we have a lot of limitation in terms of technological advancement for construction of irrigation projects. And the last one is financial availability. Although there is a slight increment in allocation of budget, it's not really sufficient, and we still require a lot more for the irrigation sector. And the other is, although we are really building a lot of dams elsewhere throughout the country, sedimentation has been quite a challenge elsewhere. Those pictures are, although they are taken really from particular part of the country, they are showing quite significant loss of storage from different dams constructed in the Upper Blue Nile Basin. Global sedimentation rate is approximately like 1%. However, we have seen in the last few years sedimentation rate of our dams up to 11% of losing 11% of its storage capacity. And one of the dam, we call it Anjab in the eastern Gojam Basin in the Upper Blue Nile Basin, lost its entire storage, surprisingly, in just 5 years. And it is an indicator of the fact that we still require, the talk that we have been, that has been addressed in the last presentation is a lot of importance. Most of the dams are losing their storage at quite a greater rate than the global sedimentation rate. The other that still require a lot of attention, this river, we call it Gumara River. Well, although it is a particular picture from the Upper Blue Nile Basin, irrigation management has come to be a very serious issue. Well, one of the picture is taken in 2017, the wet season, and the other picture, 2015 in the dry season. This river is not really a seasonal river. It used to be a perennial river. It is still a perennial river where we plan to build another dam in the next couple of years. However, you see kids are still playing football under the bridge, indicator of the fact that there is a lot of or need of or a call for water management in the upper basins. And in fact, we still need to build a lot of infrastructure for those kind of river systems. At last, I would like to talk about the National Irrigation Strategy, where we are focusing on the objective of the National Irrigation Strategy that we did already, or we compiled. In fact, the first one is to increase food production, as has been said, more than individual needs for the upcoming and already constructed agro-industrial parks. And in fact, one of the biggest challenges of this country is unemployment of the educated youth. So we have a separate project for that. So we plan to develop around 24,000 hectares of land in the next few years to enable more than 30,000 young graduates for the commercial irrigation sector. We have already started this project. We have been offering training in the Afar, Somali, and the Oromia region, and this probably will continue in the other regions in the next few weeks. We have also a separate aim for revitalizing existing irrigation projects. We have seen like there are several projects elsewhere in different corners of the country. Like we can take Tandaho, we can take Kasam, and the other projects under construction and nearly completed. Most of them, they are either operated at, they are not really operated at their full extent. So we still need to work a lot, and we are developing another package for working to operate those schemes at their full scale. And we have a separate package for revitalizing existing irrigation projects, and we still need to build human capacity and institutional capacity. When you say human capacity and institutional capacity, it's not only limited to the Irrigation Development Commission. However, we still need to work together with other consultants and contractors who are active in the irrigation sector. And in fact, lastly, the irrigation technology and use, which is believed to be efficient in terms of water usage and others. We have those kind of packages. Thank you very much.